This is Carmel. I'm the Crazy Cricut Lady, and tonight we're going to cover a big topic that everybody is questioning about. We're going to handle these little tools down here at the bottom. Weld, attach, flatten. All very useful tools and very versatile, very powerful. I've created this little design. It's just made out of some circles, some squares, some shapes. And I'm going to select all. I'm going to make it a little smaller because it's a bit big to work with. This is just regular. You see it here in the layers menu. I'm going to change some colors here just because I need some differences when I'm talking here. And we're going to make this one dark blue. We have this cute little wagon. What we're going to do first of all, we're going to tackle the weld button. Now let's say you wanted to weld these two stars together. They can be touching or not touching. If they're touching and you select both of them, you can weld them together. It makes it the color of the furthest back item. So let me undo that and I'll show you how that's done again. See, the green star is further up and then the blue star. So when you weld these two together, it will make them blue and it will join them together. You see there's no little line separating them. And when they cut out, it'll cut them as one piece welded together. Let's back this up again. They don't have to be touching. You can select both of them and click weld. Again, it turns them into the furthest back color, but joins them together. That's how you use weld. And we'll undo all of that. An important thing to note is you cannot undo weld once you save your project. So if I had welded them together and saved, that ends it. They're stuck together forever. That's just something to remember because sometimes you weld things and oh, I didn't want to do that. As long as you haven't hit save, you can undo to unweld them. Say you wanted to weld this whole thing together. If you look down the list, the lowest thing on the list is the yellow. So when you click weld, it'll make it all one piece, no cut lines in the middle, and it makes it yellow. And you back up and there it's unwelded. Now we're going to talk about attach. Let's click this little green star and this little blue star and attach them. It turns them into the furthest back color and they're both blue. It's sort of like weld at this point, but there are some key differences. So you want to attach them to the little red box. It makes them all red because the red was further back, but it still will cut the stars out. When you go to make it, you'll cut the stars out of the red box. Now I'm going to back it up and we're going to show you an example of how everything works and we'll see if that helps. First of all, we're going to select all. We're going to group them. Now it's one big group. As you can see, it puts them all in a group. And you can select individual items and still change the color in these. But you have to select them on the menu here. You can't select them as individual items on the mat. Now we're going to duplicate this whole group a few times. I need 5 copies here. I think we only needed 4, but 5 is good enough. As you can see, they're all grouped. So we're going to ungroup them to show you what we can do with the other functions. This one is grouped. You can move it all together. You can resize it together. Everything is grouped together, but they're still individual pieces. And it will still cut them all out on their individual color mats. This one, we're going to select all of it. We're going to weld it. Now, got rid of all of the cut lines, made it all the same color. You can resize this, but the only way to get it apart again is to undo. You cannot undo a weld down here. You can undo a weld like this. There, we've undone the weld. And now we're going to redo the weld. But that's weld. For this one, we're going to attach them. So we're going to select all of the stuff in our wagon and we're going to attach them. As you can see, it made them all yellow. Individual pieces can still be selected and changed the color. Every piece will still be cut out. It'll just all be cut together out of the same piece, and I'll show you and make it in a second how that works. This wagon we're going to flatten. Now, as you can see, the dark outlines all disappeared, and this is changed to one big unit. You can't change individual colors anymore. And it is a print then cut image. We're going to delete this one here because we're not going to do anything to it. Let's click Make It. This is where the big difference shows up. As you can see, the first mat is our print then cut. It will print this on your printer and then cut it out. And because we selected the whole thing, it'll just cut around the wagon. It will not cut out the stars or the rod or the wheels. This mat and this one show the individual pieces. That's the one we grouped. They're still separate pieces. They're still separate. They just move around, but it doesn't change how it's made. Now this one, those are the wheels from the grouped one. This is the weld, where it made it all one piece, and it's not cutting out the individual parts. This one, because we attached it, still cuts out all the individual parts, but cuts them out in the exact position they were put together and attached. It cuts them out of the same piece of paper. What you'll end up with is the big square with the stars cut out of it, the wheels cut out, a separate piece because it will cut this like this, and it will cut this piece out completely separate, but out of the same material and on top of each other. Sometimes that's a little confusing. Attach is mainly used when you make a card. You put the lettering on the card. You want it to stay right there, so you attach it. Or when you put a score line in, you want it to be right there, so you attach it. We're going to select all of these and delete it. And I'm going to make a simple card. I mean really simple. We're going to make a rectangle. Unlock this, make a rectangle, make it white. We're going to take the shapes, we're going to make a score line. And we're going to put it right down the middle. Now we want it to be exactly the same size. This is 6.236 high. We're going to make it 6.236 high. Now it's the exact same size, so it'll put the score line right down the middle, and we want to center it so that it is the center. So we select everything and we align it and center it. Now if I were to make this right now, we would get two separate mats, one with the little score line on it and one with the square, because we didn't attach it. So we're going to cancel this. If we select both and attach them, when we click Make It, we only have one mat. We have the rectangle cut out with the score line where we put it. That's how you use attach. If I were to put some writing on here, let's go back to our happy birthday. And we're going to make it so that it fits on half the card. Now we're going to attach that to the card. Because we attached it, it made the letters the same color as the card. It will cut them out. So it's going to cut out a happy birthday right there, and we'll look at make it. See? It kept it right where it was and is going to cut them out. If you want it to not cut them out, but draw them instead, you click the letters, you go up here where it says cut and change that to draw. Now it will only draw the outline, but now it'll draw that instead of cutting them out. You can't really tell by looking at the mat that it does that, but it does. Oh, by the way, you can change the color of the pen here if you want it to be orange. It'll tell you to put in an orange pen. Whatever pen you put in, it just assumes that it's orange. If you had multiple things in multiple colors, when you make it, it'll stop and tell you to put in a different pen. And it tells you put in orange or put in green. And if you want it to be exactly that color, that's what pen you put in. If you don't care, just click the little C and tell it to continue, and it'll just keep writing with whatever pen you have installed. Sort of like the mat color. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you put on the mat is what it cuts. It's just a way to keep them separate if you want them separate. If there are any questions about this, and I'm sure there's going to be, feel free to email me. Attach, flatten, weld, and group is a subject that everybody asks about, and until you try it and understand it, you'll always be curious, and even I make mistakes with it and group things when I should be attaching them or forget to attach things. Just try it. You're going to make mistakes. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got was go ahead, make your mistakes. You learn more from your mistakes than anything else, but if you don't try it, you'll never learn it. And that's the pearl of wisdom from the crazy Cricut lady today. Thanks a lot. If you have any questions, again, please feel free to email me at blog@crazycricutlady.com. I will help as much as I can.